in that mind where you're asking yourself, what is my life purpose? So we want to just talk about that in our own views, our own ways, and how we found our life purpose. And hopefully this will help you to understand and maybe unblock you from being blocked to finding your life purpose. So who wants to start with this, ladies?
I'll start, because I think that there's so many different approaches to life purpose and soul purpose and what it is and how you find it and all of that stuff. And essentially, we're already all doing it. This is how simple it is. You're already doing it just by being here. We're on the planet, we're humans, humaning, divine humans humaning. But in human terms, I think the best way of understanding or finding your life purpose or your soul purpose or your calling, as we might call it, is to always follow your heart. In my own personal experience, and some of the people I've worked with, I've heard this as well, that whenever I've followed my logical brain and what I think I should be doing, or whenever I've listened to other people's advice, it's not always the right advice for me. And sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes following somebody else's advice can go wrong or won't fit, or it doesn't end up being right for me. Obviously there's a lot of people, such as healers as ourselves, giving advice to people or helping people to find their soul purpose. But I always like to say that even if someone gives you helpful advice, always see if it feels right in here, if it feels right to you. It doesn't always have to resonate. So I just want to say that always, whenever I followed my heart, whenever I felt into the situation and done what feels right rather than what I think is right, that's always the right way. Whenever it feels right, and it's always guided me to exactly where I need to be at any given time, and it's brought me to where I am now.
Yeah, I think that's like it's the best advice really. It's just following what makes you happy as well, and again going out and being curious and trying different things, and not what I find personally, if I have to speak from my personal experience, a lot of people are going for readings, a lot of people are putting their life purpose into other people's hands for somebody else to tell them what their purpose is, which is fine to a certain point, but I don't do that anymore. I used to do readings, but I found that I wasn't actually helping them to find their purpose. So I just find that to find your purpose is it's living in the now. It's going through all of the awakening, this is what we talked about in previous videos, about the ascension. It's about tapping into your own abilities, intuition. It's about trying all different things that make you happy. So even if you're in a place right now in your life where you're not happy and you feel like there's no way out, you have to try and do a step forward. It's a step forward. The life purpose comes by following the heart, by following your happiness, by just being in that energy. But I also feel life purpose is to heal as well, and to be on the planet, and to evolve, and to learn, and to ascend, and all these things. It's all part of it. So like Alexandra said, this is life purpose. We are living it. Everybody's living life purpose. That's all we have to do. It doesn't need to be complicated.
Absolutely. So in my book, Healing the Past Life Therapy, I use the Wizard of Oz as an analogy through it. It's a metaphor for the soul's journey as you go through the Yellow Brick Road, which represents the path of life. And it was always my favourite story anyway, but one of my favourite scenes in the story is when Glinda arrives in her beautiful orb that she appears in, and she's there representing the higher self, the intuition, the wisdom. That's her role in the story. And she tells Dorothy that in order to find the answer of how it is that she's going to get home, or get to the right place, achieve her purpose, if you like, that she has to follow this yellow brick road, and she will be led to a place where there is the wizard who is going to help her get the answers. And of course this is the inner journey, and finding that knowledge that's within. And at a certain point, Dorothy says to her, what happens if I get to a crossroads? And at that point, Glinda completely ignores the question, and she buggers off in her bubble. And one might think, well, that's a little bit rude. She didn't answer the question. And I find this time and time again, when people come up with that question about life purpose, why am I here, what am I supposed to be doing, do I do this job, do I take this path? There's so many choices that are available. And Dorothy finds herself at a crossroads, where she says, well, where do I go now? And the scarecrow appears, who says, well, you can go this way, or I hear some people like to go that way, and some people just like to go all over the place. So really not helpful advice, which, as you said, advice isn't always, when it's external, going to be the what you need. But the one thing that really stood out for me about that metaphor was that it didn't actually matter which path she took, because they were all going to lead her to where it is that she needed to go.
Yeah, that's really good. I like that.
And with life purpose, I think that we sometimes misconstrue the actual sort of external events and the roles that we choose to play as being the purpose of our lives. And as you said so rightly, the role being here is to come back to the knowing, I believe, of who we are. And I think that our life purpose is to become the very best version of ourselves that we can
That's
be.
what it is.
And it doesn't matter what job you do.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether you are, someone that cleans the streets, or whether you're the Queen of England. Whatever the role is, be the very best person that you can be doing that role. And I think any life purpose that is assigned to us, it's our choices that we make along the way, along the path, that will determine whether or not we complete it.
I think it's amazing what Lorraine said, because a lot of people, when they start to awaken, they actually feel that they need to be doing something spiritual. They need to be spiritual teachers or crystal healers or Reiki healers, and if you're guided down that path, then it's fantastic. But I also feel like some of you in the world just need to be where you are. You doctors, shop assistants, wherever you are, you're holding that light, and that could be your life purpose. That may be your life purpose, to hold that light in that area for people that are coming in, and you're smiling at them every single day. And but if you're not happy in that, then your job is to go forward. And in my book, I have a chapter called Yellow Brick Road. That's really interesting, and I talk about the obstacles that when we do go forward and we leave what we think is not our purpose, it may not be our purpose, and we want to find that, then there's the paths. Yeah. And all paths are going to give you obstacles, because the obstacles are lessons to help you grow. So that's what it's about as well.
Yeah, I think life it's one of my pet hates, actually, being asked. I do readers. I do readings, and it's the one question that I cannot stand. And I'm not a fortune teller, so when it comes to my tarot readings, they are really about you, your soul path. But I'm not going to give you the answer that you're looking for. That's always your discovery. It's not something that anybody can ever tell you. I mean, the only thing I do that kind of borderlines on that is the numerology side of things, because obviously we have your life path, your destiny path, etc., and that vibrates at a frequency. So your name, your date of birth, the moment you landed, if you like, here, that vibrates at a frequency which will hold a few clues of what you might be good at. So it might sort of point towards the communication side of things, or it might point towards a humanitarian, or something along those. It gives you an idea of things, but you're going to feel that anyway. You're going to feel what you love to do, what you're passionate about, and it's like we were all saying, it sits in the heart, and it's
so
what
do you find that a lot of people say to you, what is my life purpose? I get that. What is my life purpose?
What I do find is that a lot of people who are on that search are actually in avoidance. So I'm going to throw this out there a little bit, because a lot of people are just trying to storm ahead, and actually when they're in this area of wanting to know what is, there's something that they're not fixing or focusing on in the now that really needs their attention. Because at the end of the day, when you are on soul path, everything starts to unfold, and everything starts within you. So once you get, once you've healed your layers, or you've got rid of your behavioural patterns, or or whatever else it is, then everything starts to open up for you naturally anyway. We start to attract, our soul tribe and opportunities, and the universe going, she's doing her work, we're going to send some her way, and it all starts to unfold. I think it's when you're feeling stuck, you need to look at why you're stuck, what's going on at the moment, what are you not willing to face, or what are you trying to avoid with yourself, what are you hiding from yourself, because that is what needs to be cleared. You cannot ever take the old of, you know, what you have been sitting in into the new paradigm or the new timeline or whatever, you know, you have to remove that.
Yeah.
And the one moment you do that, that's when opportunities and new things start to arise.
So one of the processes that I work with is, or it was originally it was called Life Between Lives, because it was a process that was created by Dr. Michael Newton, and it came about through the research into past life work. And he realised that some of the clients at the end of the session or at the death point would continue on to the place where they were planning for this current life, where they were doing reviews and making decisions and choices. And in that state, when people go there, they can ask those questions, and they often get to meet with their spirit guides, their soul family, but often they get to meet with kind of ascended beings, so very, very wise guides, and whether they call themselves the elders or the council. And you're allowed to ask these beings questions, and it's one of the key questions, and it was one that I had when I first did the work, because it is a shortcut. If somebody else is going to tell me and give me clarity, am I on the right path, and am I doing the right thing, then sometimes if you're not sure, you feel like you need that reassurance. And I just remember it so clearly when I said, am I on the right path? And they went, well, what do you reckon? Oh, okay. And then I said, but what's my life purpose? And they said, your life purpose is to work out what your life purpose is.
Thanks. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And one of the things I found on my path is that, you know, if we're talking about it in sort of 3D career path terms, which is what a lot of people think it is about, right? What job am I here to do as a human being? It's all relevant. What I've found is that every single different, say, whether it's a career, a job, or whether it's a place I've been in my life, they've all been really significant stepping stones to bring me to where I am now. I'm still using every skill I've learnt. When I was 4, I started speech and drama training, you know, and that, obviously we're making videos. I've had a background as a journalist, I've worked in shops, I've done stuff with business, and, you know, all these little things are part of your soul's career, your soul's offering, and you draw from all those experiences. It's multidimensional, and it's not linear.
Could you imagine if you asked for a reading a few years ago? I'm going to an example here. If Alexandra asked for a reading of somebody, you know, a good reader, and they said your soul purpose is to teach spiritual things and do all this, and she didn't go through all the process of the other jobs, then she'd have gone straight into this, but without the experience and without that build-up. And it could have caused... I tried. I think it can be dangerous for people to say your life purpose is to be a Reiki master, when in fact, maybe their life purpose is not to be a Reiki master. Yeah. Maybe it's a completely different path. So we have to be empowered with that, and to ask us, like you said, and what you've said, we have to... It's a journey.
Absolutely.
It's the journey.
But maybe that person is within their life is going to come in contact with so many people, and they're transmuting the Reiki or the universal energies without even them being aware of them doing it. But that reader has kind of, you know, the human brain kicked in, said, no, you're going to be the Reiki master. But actually, just them being or travelling or whatever is spreading that universal energy and healing in that way. So, you know, the reader is getting it wrong.
And we also have to be aware that in any of the situations where somebody is telling somebody what perhaps maybe something that they see for them in the future, or something that they are capable of, or something that is a possibility for them, it is just that, it is a possibility. Because when anybody tunes in to the future for you, what they're doing is that they're following the thread of your most probable future if you continue on the same path that you're on. But there's free will at every single step of the journey. So every time you make a big decision about your life, which can only be your choice, for any of us, it can only be our choice, our decision, you may be presented with somebody who says, well, look, would you like to do some Reiki training? And one decision could be, yes, I'm going to do that training. It's a bit like sliding doors. You know, the one part says, yes, I'm going to go and do the Reiki training, and eventually they evolve and they become a Reiki master. But they have to go through the steps. But another moment, and almost a parallel version of their life, they might say, no, actually, do you know what? I'd rather go and do, I don't know, become a yoga teacher, or become an accountant, or whatever it is that they feel impassioned to do in that moment in time. And then you create an entirely different trajectory. So it is possible to go and explore the future, but people have to be really aware that everything is possible, that you can make changes at every single juncture of your life. And some people do believe that there are these parallel universes where there is the one that's the Reiki master and there is the one that's the accountant and the, you know, these, but that starts to get a bit complicated. Not for today.
Also, you know, just say someone says, oh, you make an amazing Reiki master, I just put it out there that even every single Reiki master has a completely different offering and a completely different journey. And I think one of the dangers, especially if you're going into work as a healer or a spiritual teacher, is don't get caught up, try not to get caught up modelling yourself on anyone else or what anyone else has done. I mean, take inspiration from others, obviously. But, you know, like, I remember when I was first starting out looking at other spiritual teachers and thinking, oh, I need to be just like that person, or that person's doing it that way, maybe I should do it that way. And then the more I tried to find out what my unique offering was, the more I realised, wow, it's really different to what anyone else is actually doing. And even though we all see similarities with each other and a lot of us will have similar experiences, we totally have a different outlook, even a different method of expressing that and approaching that. And that's what I love about this and having these conversations and seeing the different threads. So know that you are unique, you are magnificent. Everyone has their own set of gifts, and it's like snowflakes and fingerprints. No two of us are identical. Even if you are an identical twin, you're not. You're completely different. They usually are very different energies. So celebrate that uniqueness. Find what makes your soul sing and follow that. And this is what's wonderful about what's happening on the planet, is that we're breaking out of this need to all fit in the same bloody pigeonhole. we don't all have to follow the leader and do the same thing all the time.
Yeah. And Joseph Campbell used to talk about following your bliss, and I think that is so important. When you're trying to make choices, or if people are trying to decide where they want to go, think back to what you loved. Think back to what it was that you did when you were a child, that was the thing that you wanted to do the most. Find the thing that brings you your joy, that creates the bliss for you, and see if you can find ways to incorporate that into your life. So you said the old paradigm was that you got a job that you did from 9 to 5 days a week, and then it was only at the weekend, really, that you got to live your life and to do the things that you wanted to do. But we live in a world now where there are so many different possibilities, and it is possible to incorporate the things that you love into your working life. There are all kinds of different ways in which people can actually provide for themselves and earn a living. So find out what really you are passionate about and what you love, and just see if you can do more of that.
Absolutely. I mean, what would you say to people who are watching this now, who are sat there and they're depressed and they're in a job that they don't like, and they don't know how to get out of it because they need the money from that job to pay their bills, and they can't, and they're stuck in the sticks, and they can't get out, and they haven't got a car, they haven't got any friends, and they just literally sat in this house alone, and they just don't know what to do, and they don't know what their purpose is.
I would say change your mindset.
Change the mindset.
If you're there, you're meant to be there for some reason.
Yeah.
As Andrea was saying, you're either there to learn from the experience, but it may be that your light is needed in that space. When I used to work for a magazine, I think I've spoken about this, and the magazine collapsed, and I had to go back to freelance work, and I was already well on my spiritual path and started working as a healer, and I had to go back into an office where I wasn't comfortable. And I hated it, and every day I was going in going, why am I here? Why I've come so far, I've gone backwards. And suddenly I changed my mindset and went, actually, if I'm here, I'm meant to be here. So I went in every day, shining my light, sending love. I thought, I'm going to bless everyone in this place.
Absolutely.
I'm going to send love.
Yeah.
And then people started coming to me, asking for readings. I got presented in some of the magazines as like the healer of the week. Amazing miracles. When you just drop into a space of trust, as we've spoken about before, if you're there, there is no mistake. Either you need to trust that you're there for a reason. If you've been trying to leave and it's not working, trust that you're there for a reason, because usually that will then drop you into the space of, oh right, it'll click, I know why I'm here now, I'm here to do this, or I'm here to meet this person, or to have this experience. And then once you've had it and acknowledged it, usually the doors will fling open and then the next opportunity will
happen. What happens?
I mean, a great example with me actually was when I spent 10 years working in factories, and although there's nothing wrong with any kind of work on the planet, for me it wasn't my purpose at all, and I was very depressed in them years. I was working in these factories, and oh my gosh, so many days I sat on the doorstep with a cuppa saying, there must be more to this. That's a good thing, you know, because there is more to it. Yeah. If you're saying that there must be more to my life, then my gosh, there is, okay. But I had to learn something. So for me, it wasn't about I wasn't shining light because I wasn't aware of how to shine light in them days. So I was, if anything, probably sending out anger and stuff, and I wasn't probably helping everybody else. But what I did was, my lesson was to love myself and come to terms with the fact that I was dyslexic, and to understand that was not a burden for me, and it was a gift.
Yeah.
And it's a gift. But all them years I worked and was stuck and not being in my purpose, if you want to say, it was because of that. I didn't feel good enough. So until I healed something in me to get to the point of feeling good enough for the doors to open, the doors remained shut for years, over 10 years. So that's an example of being stuck and what's my purpose, You know, sometimes we need to heal something and work on something before we can go into the next stage, which is the journey.
Which is what I was mentioning. There's something that's being avoided, there's something that you're not healing, there's something that you're not ready to look at. And it is always about going within. And
for
It's
sure.
always about you, because your reality
I
is
wasn't ready because I was embarrassed to be dyslexic. I was ashamed of it.
So that was
So I didn't want to even confront that. So no. That's why I remained in that void of not in my purpose. But I also think, like, because you do the alignment thing, and you teach about writing the emotions down. That's really good as well. If, you know, writing down the things that you don't like and the things that you do like, and maybe you can explain more about how they can project that out onto paper.
Well, I think, you know, it's all about coming into balance again, isn't it? It's, you know, look at where you're at, look at what it is that is making you unhappy. Why is it making you unhappy? You know, you have to go through all of that. But I mean, I think what you're talking about is where I take people through the balance, because it's about being in balance. So we have to, as a human, we have to balance out the mind, body, spirit and emotion. And with the way the world is and our lives are, or a lot of people's, they tend to be too much in the mind. There's too much like thought going on. There's too much, you know, lists and problems and issues or whatever. Or, you know, say for instance, you know, the gym. I have to call him the gym freak then. Okay, the junkie. The gym junkie. Well done. Thank you for the rescue. You know, they're way too much in body, and they're very sort of focused on how they look and stuff. But, you know, to get everything moving forward, you have to be in complete balance, and, you know, you need to make sure these like sections of your life are all sort of in sync, and then everything starts to evolve and move forward.
Yeah. And it is a jigsaw puzzle. So even though there may be aspects of life that aren't great, I think if people really look, they will find some little spark of light and some positivity. And sometimes when I've worked with people that feeling stuck is a lot of the energy that people come to see me with, that they're not moving forward, they can't understand why they're not moving. And so many people are problem oriented, so they will look at the areas of their life that aren't working and the bits that they don't like, and they are very aware of what they don't want. So I don't want it to be like this, I don't want to be, you know, unfit, I don't want to be unhappy, I don't want to be in this job. And what they're not stopping to think about are the bits that they can be grateful for, so the great things that they already have in their lives. And then getting a bit more clarity of, well, what do you want? You know, and so I don't want this, but so many people fail to take time out to just really think about what would I like, what would I want, because how are you ever going to get it if you don't know what it is? You know, there's a part of the brain called the reticular activating system, and it's a mechanism that will kind of, once you've notified it that something's important to you or that something is significant for you, it goes on a search. It's a bit like a Google search. It's like you've waken up a little part of the brain that is then looking for information, it's looking for signs, it's looking for opportunities, it's looking for things that are linked to the thing you've told your mind is important. So if you get clarity about the kinds of things that you would want, or the kind of people that you want to spend time with, or just the way you want to feel, you know, sometimes it's not about a thing that you're doing or a place that you're going to be, it's just how am I going to feel on the inside. So if you're questioning and you know, setting the mindset to look for what's going to make you feel happy and fulfilled, your mind will actually go on a search to look for those things in life, and then doors will start to open. But it does require sometimes, and again, it's, you know, I think of my work as being a bit like feng shui. You know, you have to clear out the blocks, clear out some of that debris that's been weighing you down, and as you do that and start to focus on the positives, then opportunities will start to present themselves.
Do you like the vision board aspect then?
Well, you can do a vision board, but I think that some of the ideas of just putting a vision board up and then focusing on that and just insisting that the universe is going to then somehow magically provide it for you, and you know, Lord knows I do. There was, you know, somebody once in my life that did just sit at home visualising being a millionaire, thinking that it was going to happen. And I did point out that actually to make it happen, you also have to take action. You know, the universe is not just going to hand it to you on a plate. So you then have to go out and look at things. What can you create? What can you provide? What can you give back? That, you know, how can you be of service?
What can you remove to bring that into vibration?
To make that happen. So there is a balance in the universe. So yes, we can wish, and yes, we can pray, and yes, we can focus, and we can have the vision board, know where we're going, know what we want, but make sure you do the work as well. Make sure you clear what needs to be cleared so that you can get to that place. And if you're not where you want to be, then it's an indication to you that there may be something that you need to address and something you need to look at.
And if you're finding that you're in a lot of confusion and you're having a lot of ideas about what you think you might want, but you're not actually coming to any one specific idea or thought, there's a little process you can do. Just come back to your centre first and foremost. I get people to imagine that they can drop their awareness from their mind, from their head, drop it down into your heart, come right back to your centre, come back to simplicity, remember what makes you happy, connect with Earth, connect with Mother Earth, just take it day by day. A lot of people are going through what Charlene was talking about, these huge wilderness years, or the dark night of the soul, the wilderness zone, where maybe things aren't moving forward for you, and if that's the case, just allow things to be for a while. Come back to you, come home. You know, even just be grateful for waking up in the morning and having the capacity to breathe, to be alive.
Absolutely.
Simplicity is a real healer. Give yourself digital detoxes. Give yourself detoxes from the news or stimuli or even negative people. Conversations, and come back to your joy. Remember, as Laurie said, remember what made you happy as a child.
Yes.
So
I'm very pleased with doing this video today because, you know, and again, I take it back to so many people are wanting the quick answer straight away. That's why they're going to readers, you know, they want to know what my life purpose is. But when they get told what it is and then it doesn't happen, it leaves them in a real low energy and confused state of mind. And that's why we want to bring this, you know, if you can find out what it is, great, but there's the steps that you have to put in place to finding it, and that's what it's about. That's how you find your life purpose, that you're already kind of in anyway. Many of us, we're all in a life purpose, but to get where you want to be, there has to be steps, things removed, things have to be vibrationally matching that which you want to be, you know. So
learn to celebrate where you are as well. And I know that's a really weird thing to say, but the challenges, like a friend of ours, we have a friend Brian, and when I was going through a really dark night of the soul, really horrible period, and I was really in it was very difficult, he said, honey, if the pendulum can swing that far that way, think how far back in the other direction it'll swing.
Exactly.
We're very cyclical beings, so if you're going through, or if someone you know is going through a hard time, I always hold on to those. They're catalytic. If you're going through it, you're processing something deep, it means that you're moving through layers of your karma, layers of your subconscious to bring you to the answers, so that what you're meant to be doing for your life purpose will be able to drop more clearly in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I think that's great. I think we brought, you know, we could go on forever, but I think the main bulk of this is just to,
I think we've made our point.
just to be happy, be in the now, just, you know, work on things that need to be worked on, and allow that vibrational match to come in.
Raise your vibe.
Raise your vibe. And you know what? It will be better than you expect.
Yeah.
It will always, if you expect the best, if you celebrate everything in your life as a lesson or a blessing, it will always, the universe will conspire to fill your life with blessings. So it is about changing your perception. It's like flip yourself on your head. If you're feeling like crap about your situation, turn it around. And that's not to ignore the shadow, by the way, still work through that, but just learn to look at things from a slightly different perspective. So, you know, like, and to do that, you can trick your brain, you know, brush your teeth with your left hand one morning, change up your day, so you're breaking the monotony.
Yeah, absolutely. Do things
I'm going to try that now.
try that. And go somewhere new.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing more incredible than just going out in nature. That's free. You know, a lot of time people say, but I can't afford to do these courses and I can't afford to do it. There are loads of resources free online for new things that you can learn.
Yeah.
There's loads of stuff that you can read, loads of videos that you can watch. But actually just getting out of the house, even if it's chucking it down with rain, put scarves and waterproof, but go to nature.
Yeah.
Just go to nature. Take your shoes and socks off. Go and walk in the grass.
But that could be where you meet that inspirational person.
Absolutely.
That's
You
gonna
just
open a new
don't
door.
know where doors going to open, but just take time for you and take time to just sit in who you are and celebrate it. And even if it is crap, know that it will evolve. We've all been through hard times. We've all been through the struggles. And I have a little analogy that you know came up in a meditation that was connected to the life support machine that you know you're strapped up to in the hospital, and I kind of see that some people that don't take a lot of chances, you know, there are only little blips that go up and down, so there's not much that happens. If you don't take big risks, then you know there's very little that you know you have to be concerned about. But if you're the kind of person that really wants to live life to the full and you want to go for it and you want to have adventures and you want the highs, which I know I do, you know, it's going to be matched somewhere in your life with the equally deep lows. And I think you have to be prepared to accept that on the journey of life, that's what it's going to be. So you can coast and do nothing, but then you're flatlining and you may as well be dead.
The brightest
Yes.
light,
But you have to,
shadow.
exactly, so you have to accept, if you're going to go for it, if you want to live this life big, accept the good and the bad, but know while you're in it, and I've done the dark nights of the soul on more than one occasion, where I've really dipped down into that deep dark pit that is almost feels like it's bottomless. But I know that when I do it, there is a finite time that I'm going to allow myself to have that. So if I do being negative, if I do being depressed, if I do being miserable, I give myself permission to go right into that hole, go into it as deeply and as darkly as I possibly can. I try and make sure there's nobody else around when I'm doing it, because I don't want to inflict that on anybody else. But I will really, really do it properly. And in the back of my mind, there's always a part of me that knows that when I'm done, when I've done that properly, and I've cleansed and I've cleared and I've faced that and I've really dealt with it, that I can then climb back up again, and then I start off afresh. I start anew.
Thanks, brilliant.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, to your life purpose.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you for being
Celebrate
with
your
us.
life.